Is there now a blueprint out there to beat the team that so many people think is the best in the AFC, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, the Super Bowl favorites, the Indianapolis Colts, I think they used what they learned in the Detroit Lions game with Matt Patricia, where you use man coverage, you get a little bit of pressure, and you try to keep Patty Mahomes off the field. Now, granted, that's a lot easier said than done, but a lot of teams have been able to do it here in recent history. Now the question is, if the Broncos can't do that to the Chiefs on Thursday night, should the Broncos head coach get fired? Because it feels like now we know an exact way to beat the Chiefs. And with that being said, the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson, what a performance by them. They didn't play nowhere near a perfect game, and were still able to get a win over a dominant Chiefs team. Has to feel good down in H-Town with Paul Wall.
Well, a dominant offensive team, but their defense is awful. And look, they're 30th in the league in run defense. But it's funny, Dan, you talked about to us that they did it differently, but they still ran the ball down their throat. But they can't play pass defense either. So if you can't play run defense or pass defense, at least last year they turned the ball. They got turnovers and they got sacks. Yeah. They're not even doing that this year. So look, the same old story for the Chiefs. Get in the playoffs, get beat in the first or second round.
Yeah, I find it interesting because I was with the Houston Texans when we used to have to play against Peyton Manning. And I remember Gary Kubiak sitting there designing the game plan and talking to our offense and saying, listen, it's not good enough to just score points this week with Peyton on the field, or on the opponent. You have to score points and make sure that he's off the field. We talked about the Colts and their way of doing it 2 weeks ago. The Texans did the same thing to the Chiefs. They just did it differently. It was the run game and then a dink and dunk offense where it was really about not throwing the football downfield, but getting it out of Deshaun Watson's hands and getting completions. Some numbers that are really telling. Patrick Mahomes was on the field in the second half for 5 minutes.
Wow.
Out of 30 minutes, he was on the field for 5 minutes, and it's because this short little pass game of getting the ball out of Watson's hands into Hopkins' hands, and they were good with it because it was keeping them ahead of the chains. Houston ran 89 plays. 89. The NFL average is 63. They kept Patrick Mahomes, the best way to do it, on the bench.
And I would argue Deshaun Watson being able to play that style of offense while also being able to run for his life and throw the deep ball makes him a legit contender to be the next great quarterback. But what the Houston Texans went in there and dominated the Chiefs, it'll be interesting to see how everybody else chooses to do it against them.
Will Fuller dropped 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
Or what? I mean, this is unreal.
There are 2 unbeaten teams remaining in the NFL, and I can say that the Patriots get plenty of attention. The Niners don't. Is it fool's gold here, or how good is this actual
It's not
team?
fool's gold. I can promise you that. Here's what I see. You got a legitimate coach. Number one, we talk about superstar young coaches. Well, the wrong one showed up. Because Kyle Shanahan, to me, that's the Sean McVay, what he's supposed to be. Kyle Shanahan's doing it. And he took it from his pops. What? Run the football, be physical, and by the way, that defense, oh my goodness, that front seven is absolutely legit.
Pat, we spent a lot of time talking about the Bears, how good that defense is, and could they ride that defense to a Super Bowl? The same could be said for the Niners. Do you think they have the potential to make a run?
I think that Niners defense is a bunch of savages. I just said it. I think Jimmy G, who's incredibly handsome, is also good enough to win games for you. That defensive coordinator.
He's handsome.
Handsome, energetic. He's got a big-time stop. He's probably going to be a head coach. And you're playing against a Rams. Now, granted, they played the Browns and the Rams, who are both teams that are kind of faltering a little bit. This Rams team is a completely new team. No center, retirement, see you later to a guard. They're a completely different operating team, but we should not undersell how good the 49ers are. I think after the Monday night slaughtering of the Cleveland Browns, all we talked about was Dapgate with Richard Sherman and Baker Mayfield because those two are firestorms. This 49ers team is legit, and I think they have the makings to make a good run, especially with a wizard as a head coach. The only thing negative is Robbie Gould's performance thus far. He's got a rookie holder. They'll work that out. The 49ers seem to be a legit contender.
If you had to vote for MVP right now, does Deshaun Watson get your vote?
No, Christian McCaffrey still gets my vote. He's still consistently the best player doing the most that is asked of him. But listen, this is a very tight 4-man race. It's McCaffrey, it's Mahomes, it's Russell Wilson, and Watson. I will say this. I said last week that Watson and Mahomes were closer, and I think Watson, Russell Wilson, and Mahomes, because of the performance by Watson and Russell Wilson this weekend, are even closer than we thought.
Who gets your vote?
Russell Wilson gets my vote. And you saw it right there. What's the difference between those quarterbacks? That was the difference in who won the game and who lost the game in Cleveland, let alone the horrible officiating.
Right.
But Baker Mayfield can't make a throw in the red zone. Russell Wilson, that's all he does, a smaller quarterback and all that. But he's the leader. At no point in that game did I feel that Seattle wasn't in the game. So that would be my vote. Deshaun Watson, though, he's ridiculous. And you're right. Those are two other guys should have gone with the first overall pick. Should have been a fist fight for Mahomes and Deshaun Watson.
But you know that the Bears traded up to take Mitchell Trubisky ahead of both of them. What do you think of that?
Of course they did. Yeah, awful move.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and that's the thing. Look, Dabo Sweeney said it best when he said about Deshaun Watson. You're going to be passing on Michael Jordan. If you make a statement like that, a stupid statement like that, before you play the game, then you better be man enough to sit back and take the questions and give the man credit. Hey, you know what? I made a mistake. I shouldn't have said what I said. Guy made me eat my words. He kicked our butts. Done. And my butt. Not our butt, but my butt.
I think it's as simple as this, the saying, don't write checks your butt can't cash. You know, like if you don't come out and say something like that and then not back it up.
That might be the weakest thing I've seen a football player do in years. The question is about the game. He's saying, I'm only taking a game. Questions about the game. Yes, in the game, Zach, Kirk Cousins annihilated your defense. He carved you up. He threw 3 touchdowns to Stephon Diggs, who dropped other ones. And I'm only talking about that after I'm running my mouth on Friday. That's one of the weakest moves I've seen from an NFL player in I don't know how long.
No, Greeny, I couldn't agree with you more.
Would you have respected it more if he'd have doubled down and said he had one good game and sun shines on a dog's, you know what, every now and again?
I think it's one of those moments.
Dude, you got to just
it's that
accept
moment.
it.
He's like, listen, he made me eat my words, and he shut me up and proved me wrong. And obviously, I got to play better. Hats off to Kirk Cousins for going out and balling.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.